Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is HowFast. What's going on? I'm not in HQ. Something must be up. You're right. You're right. Actually, Hildy and I are going on a bit of a road trip. I'm always keeping my eye out on different Facebook pages, different apps, and different websites looking for deals on parts for our race car. And I happened to come across a really good deal the other day. Now, of course, just like anything, it requires me to drive quite a distance, and I don't mind driving, you know that. Hildy and I, we've traveled all of Ontario many times, so we're gonna jump on the road right now and I'll tell you guys a bit about it while we're on the way. Alright guys, I know I was keeping it a secret from you, but like I said, I was searching around on Facebook and different apps and websites, and I came across a 2-speed shifter that was too good to pass up. Quite literally, brand new. Now I'm sorry about the lighting. I'm out in front of Hildy here, out on the side of a highway in the middle of nowhere. But surprisingly enough, the gentleman who I bought this from actually has seen HowFast before, and he has actually heard of the channel. Kind of weird, but small circles, right? So I'm gonna jump back in the car. Still got a 2-hour drive back. Actually, it's probably 3-hour drive back. But when I get back, we'll talk about this a little bit more. Okay guys, so now that we're back in HQ, let's talk about what we went and got. But first, I wanted to give a big shout out to Pete, Pete Pit Guy on Facebook. Pete actually is the one who sold this to me, and believe it or not, I drove up to Erin, Ontario, which is a little ways north of Guelph, which is a long way from here, and I picked this thing up. When I tell you it's the middle of nowhere, it's pretty close to it, or at least it felt that way, and believe it or not, Pete had actually seen the channel before. So big shout out to Pete. Thanks Pete so much for the great deal on the shifter. So let's talk about what we just picked up. So this is a Hurst quarter stick, and it is adjustable to go for a 2-speed or a 3-speed transmission, and it does everything really all we need it to do. It's missing a spring, but I got a couple of those laying around. I'm sure I could find something to hook that up to. And then essentially, I mean, I've seen these, they run with solenoids sometimes. I don't know if we'll, I mean, maybe one day we'll get to a point where we do that. I think I'll be manually shifting it until then. And it also works with both forward or reverse valve bodies. So it's adjustable. So I can either push it or pull it, whatever way I want. So the question is, where is it going to go in the car? Right about there, I think. Feels right about there. Now the truth is I can't go mount this thing just yet because there's going to be a couple pieces of aluminum that we're going to cut here in the upcoming weeks that are going to fill in this spot, box this all off and close it off, and I'll be building a steel support underneath here that's going to hold that this thing's going to bolt to. So that's just going to strengthen this whole center section up, give this thing something really tight to grab onto, and then from there we can figure out the routing for our cables. So again, I wanted to give a big shout out to Pete. Pete, thanks a lot for the great deal on the shifter, and thanks again for your support. So let's get down to business, what we are actually here to do today. Our brakes. Remember these from last week? We pulled everything out of the car, and the plan now is to try and salvage what we can here. So that's going to require us to clean this stuff up and try and get this stuff moving again. It's questionable whether this thing's going to be able to be used again. I haven't really played with it. I haven't cleaned it up. I've only shot it with a bunch of power lube in hopes that it'll kind of loosen it up over the last couple days while it's been sitting here. If it doesn't, I've got something on Amazon that I've picked out. It's virtually a direct replacement for this, but I don't want to buy that if I don't have to. So we'll see what happens. I actually spent some time today. And I cleaned up in here. It's nothing you would notice, but there is some stuff that is noticeably more organized. And I took the time to sort through everything and put it into its places. And man, it makes me feel so good having this stuff all organized and cleaned up. And it just makes me feel a lot more at peace. So, okay, I'm going to use some brake clean to clean these parts up. Probably do my best to keep it away from these pieces. I assume there's some sort of a plunger or gasket or something inside this. I'm just going to try and keep it away from there so it's not soaking in it. But yeah, we can clean all this stuff up here, get it in a more decent shape, I guess. Like, it doesn't have to be spotless or anything, but definitely not cruddy. So we'll clean this all up, and then we'll see how everything's functioning in here. It feels like everything's working fine, but we'll see once we get everything cleaned up. So I guess when it comes to these brakes here, I guess in the words of Taylor Ray, there's nothing to it but to do it. So let's get on it. We got those all cleaned up, all painted up, and we also have the footwell all painted up as well. Not that we're not going to be cutting in there along this here in the next couple weeks, but that's all cleaned up, painted up. So I'm going to throw that brake assembly now back into the hole and see if it all goes back where it came from. Alright, boys and girls, that's gonna do it. I mean, I'm really happy about today. Dudgy gave back, you know. Everything on this car was, you know, pretty toast for the most part, but one good thing. I mean, we hope, you know, I guess time will tell. When we do put fluid in this and we run the brake lines to it, if they leak, you know, if they're blown out from being outside for all those years, I'll just replace the, you know, the reservoirs, and, you know, that's probably not too expensive. And then, after that, we'll get some brake lines, we'll run the brake lines, and then we got this. Did you guys forget about these? I bet you didn't. Most of you wouldn't have forgot about these. You'd be like, well, when was he doing those? Brake calipers. All new brake calipers for Dudgy, all four corners. I suppose one of the things we can do over the next couple weeks here, paint these up, we'll put them on the car. Question is, what color should we paint them? Do we do something intricate? I mean, for something that's barely seen? I mean, I was thinking just like the red that's on his valve covers right now. Nice bright red. What do you guys think? Leave a comment down below. What color should Dudgy's brake calipers be? And I would like to thank all you guys for playing in last week's trivia. There was someone who had the correct answer, and I pinned the answer. Kristen, congratulations. The question last week was, in which city is it illegal to stop to allow pedestrians to cross the road? The options were A, Tokyo, B, Beijing, C, Mumbai, and D, Jakarta. A lot of people, a lot of guesses. Not one, only one guessed correctly, and it was a guess. B, Beijing, where it's illegal to stop for pedestrians. So, you could be careful crossing the road in Beijing. So this week's trivia. Now, this week is the beginning of the 5 weeks for the HowFast merch. So if you guys weren't here last week, this week, starting here with this trivia, so best of 5 over the next 5 weeks wins a HowFast merch pack. And I will pay for shipping to get it out to you so you can be properly attired. And of course, I'm going to want some pictures. So if you do win, make sure you send some pictures so I can see you in all your new HowFast merch. So this week's question, the beginning of the 5 weeks. When did the Mercury Cougar make its debut in America? 1968, 1967, 1969, or 1970? So you have 4 choices there, all years right around each other. What year did the Mercury Cougar make its debut in America? So I look forward to hearing you guys' comments. Thanks again for all the subscriptions, all the likes, all the comments, and all the support. I really appreciate it, guys. Tune in next time to find out how fast we can make this car go.